Ever since I was young, I just wanted a sexy body women would find attractive. I dream about looking like this and this and this. Whenever the weather started getting warmer and the t-shirt season would roll around, I'd start doing bicep curls and sit-ups. And when I first started going to the gym, I wanted to try all the machines, all the latest exercises I saw on YouTube. But after months and months, I didn't have much to show for myself. The reason was that I didn't really understand which muscles needed to be worked on and how best to train them. So in this video, we'll talk about how to build an aesthetic body and how to do so while training less than everyone else. So hit the subscribe button. Let's get into it. How you can build a sexy, lean, aesthetic body while training less than everyone else. Is this possible? Well, actually, I would be the one to tell you that it's the only way to make it work, especially if you're not a fitness influencer slash gym bro who's obsessed about going to the gym and his whole life revolves around gym and meal prep. If you're not that guy, then you have to opt, in my opinion, for minimalist and smarter ways of training where you focus on the biggest bang for your buck exercises and the biggest bang for your buck muscles to build that proportionate V-taper aesthetic body. Is a V-tapered body where your upper half of your upper body is wider than your waist and your hips. You have a very well-defined shoulders. Your upper chest is very developed. Your back also is extremely developed. Those are the three key ones. Then you have extra ones like your arms, your biceps, your triceps, your forearms, your abs, your neck, and your traps. Yes, they are kind of important, but the most important for the aesthetic foundation, that's something that's going to be the bedrock of your entire body going forward, are those three: shoulders, chest, and back. The beautiful thing is when you train these right with the right exercises, you will actually also be training your arms in the most effective way. Most people do just arm exercises or ab exercises because they want bigger arms and they want a six-pack, but as I talk about in a lot of my other videos, it's like that's not the most effective way to get better arms and better abs. The most effective way to get better arms and better abs is to focus on your chest, your back, and your shoulders. So that's what we're going to talk about. So how do you actually work out your chest, your back, and your shoulders in the most effective way? The best way is to use compound movements as opposed to isolation movements. Compound movements are exercises that use multiple muscles at the same time and they activate multiple joints. Therefore, you can move heavier weights, which means a higher intensity on your muscles, which means more growth. And you can actually say that they're much more functional because you are using multiple joints at the same time. It's very rare in life where you're just curling a weight up and down. Incline bench press, which is really great for building your upper chest and your shoulders. Your overhead press, which is the best upper body compound exercise for building your entire shoulders, the front head, the rear delt, as well as the lateral delt. And the pull-ups, which is essential for building your back. And the supported rows or the pen lay rows, which are again extremely effective for building a thick back, but also that V-taper look. And those are the four exercises you need. You can add dips in there, and that's it. Those are the compound exercises that you need to focus most of your attention on. Here's the next thing. Which exercises do you start with? You start with the biggest muscles and you start with the biggest exercises. So every workout that you do, whether you do an upper body workout, a lower body workout, whether you do a chest and arms workout or a back and biceps workout, whatever it is, you need to be starting with the biggest compound movements that require the most amount of mental and physical energy. You need to start with that because you are trying to not only get stronger on them, you're trying to actually do them when you're the freshest in the mind. And if you leave exercises like, squats or Bulgarian split squats later on in your workout, it's very likely that you'll make an excuse and not do it. Oh, I'm out of time. Oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, I'm extra tired. Why? Because you've used that mental energy in the build up to the exercise that you actually need to be focusing on. So start with two big compound movements every workout that require the most amount of your physical and mental energy. Then as you progress through the workout, you can do more and more sort of isolation exercises that are less draining for your body and your mind. Okay, so you might do lateral raises, bicep curls, tricep extensions. These things come later on in your workout. Another thing that I get asked a lot is about rest times. Again, you can be quite intuitive about rest between sets, but when you're doing big compound movements, because they're so draining on your body and your mind, you need to rest a lot longer, and it's okay to rest a lot longer. And then when you go to the much more isolation based movements like the curls or some abs or whatever, you can rest less because they don't drain your mind so much. Be very intuitive about how you're feeling between sets, but if you get to a stage where you are actually, let's say, overhead pressing a heavy weight, you will almost be forced to rest, more than 3 minutes, and that's just fine. If you look at power lifters that do heavy weights, they rest a very long time. And this whole idea of resting very little and just going back to the set and pushing, it's this very high intensity training driven, bodybuilding driven style that's very much based on pump. It works very well if you're on steroids, but if you're not on steroids, it's not gonna promote that much growth. It's gonna make you just really, really burnt out and tired, and you will leave the gym feeling like a pack of spinach. You'll feel like just a pack of kimchi, just drained and sweaty, and you leave the gym less energized than when you entered the gym. This is what you see all the time. People get all psyched up, they go to the gym, they're like, oh, they'll burn themselves out. It's almost like they're trying to forget some stressful thing, and then they come home, they're like, okay, I worked out, I did something productive day, boom, crash, just on the couch, watch Netflix, Dorito dust on your chest, and then that's the end. Why do you want to train like that? Your gym, your fitness is supposed to enhance your energy. Why are people not talking about this? It's supposed to make you feel stronger, more powerful, and more energized, so that when you leave the gym, yes, you can sometimes be tired, but you should be more like motivated and fired up, ready to tackle the rest of the day or whatever else that I have, and you have that good buzz and you're not drained. The draining method, the draining way of training, that is why you burn out. That is why most people, after a couple months, we're going into March now, so most people will have started gymming much less, or they will give up in a couple of months. People might start in March right now to be like, I want to get ripped for summer, and then in a couple of months they'll give up because they're rushing it, because they're doing that kind of high intensity pump based workout and leaving the gym with extremely tired mind and burning out and sweating. So don't do that. How do you not burn out? How do you keep your energy? By being intuitive about your rest times, by giving enough rest between sets, but also enough rest between training days. If you train multiple days in a row, in the first week, it's actually great because you're fired up with motivation. You're like, I'm on this new journey. I'm going to be building a great body. I'm super motivated. Let's go do it. And then you just go like week in, week out. When you're not training, you're running. When you're not running, you're doing football. When you're not doing football, you're in the gym. And it's just like, my life is going great. I'm going to eat healthy. I did that so many times, and it's guaranteed you're going to burn out. In 3 weeks to 6 weeks, you'll burn out and you'll stop. Okay? You'll make another excuse like life is busy, blah, blah, blah. You didn't take into consideration that the way in which you train, the way in which you set up your entire system, training, rest, eating, was geared to make you burn out and fail. That's why you have to think strategically about rest. And when you rest between the training days, it gives you enough time for your mind to recover as well as your body. Most people just focus on their body recovery, right? They're like, oh, my muscles not sore anymore, I'm ready to go again. Like, you need to think about your mind. You need to think about your mind. Here's a pro tip. You want to almost protect your mind and rest it even when it wants to go. This is a very crazy idea. I like to think of it this way now, where it's about discipline to rest. It's the discipline to rest. It sounds crazy because most people like discipline to go train. It's like you also have to have the discipline to rest, especially in the beginning when your motivation is trying to carry you forward and trying to push you to do too much, because that's the society we live in. It's all maximize, maximize, maximize. So you want to actually have the discipline to say, you know what, I want to go, but I'm going to hold back. And what this creates is this beautiful sense of anticipation where you actually look forward to going to the gym. You're almost restless on your rest days, like, I want to go, I just want to do something, but I got to wait. How amazing is that feeling? You're looking forward to train, as opposed to most people that are like, oh God, I gotta do that now. To summarize, it's like, how many times should you train a week? I will just give you a simple answer. You should train, most people should train 3 times a week in the gym, 4 times maximum. Now, if you're a fitness obsessed gym bro, yeah, you can do 5-6 times, but I guess you wouldn't be watching this channel if you are, right? 3 to 4 times, don't go too crazy, and always give yourself enough time to rest and recover, because that's actually when the muscle gets bigger in a physical sense, and that's when new neural pathways are made in the brain for your strength gains, because a lot of people don't realize strength gain is also a neural strength. It's a brain strength, like actual neuron connections are made that make you stronger. Okay, and those things happen when you sleep, when you rest. So you must learn to prioritize mental recovery and prioritize rest. This is something that I also talked about in the part 1 of this video, which I urge you to check out as well. Talk about rep ranges and all that kind of stuff. That's how you build an aesthetic body while training less than everyone else. It's actually easier to do it this way because you are more consistent over the long run, because you don't burn out. The aesthetic proportion is only revealed if you are at a lower body fat percentage, and getting to a low body fat is not the same thing as losing weight. It's about having less fat to muscle ratio. So you need to learn how to get leaner, and while this requires a whole new video in itself, and I go into it in a lot of my other videos, you need to find a sustainable long-term way of eating that you enjoy, that doesn't have too much variance so you get confused and fall off track. And you need to start understanding your triggers that make you binge eat, the triggers that make you fall off track. And there are a lot of levels of triggers. There's the environmental triggers, there's the social triggers, and then there's internal triggers. This actually requires a whole new video by itself, so I will go into that in some videos that I'll do about how to get over binge eating. But understand that building an aesthetic body is training smart in the ways that we described with a good strategy, and also eating smart in a way that is stressless and sustainable for you. And then the final component is actually the mindset. I try to talk a lot about the mindset of body transformation in this channel, and for those of you that have appreciated me for that, thank you so much, because most people just want to focus on the first two, right? The training, like what do I do, what do I eat? What about who are you, what do you be, what do you gotta be for an aesthetic body? That stuff is super important as well. But I'll leave it there for now, and I hope this helped clear up some things, or at least made you think in a different way about training. And if this kind of stuff, interests you, please hit the subscribe button. If you want an entire system where I just show you everything I do in terms of what routines, exact sets and reps, training, about eating, about getting to a really low body fat, about mindset shifts, I've packaged it all into this holistic coaching program, which I'm very proud of. You can join that. I'll leave the link below. If not, I hope you got some value out of this. Get smart with your training.